Today is our first class, especially in the multi-cloud DevSecOps process in this particular program. And we'll start with the basic things, especially on the cloud and how exactly, what exactly the cloud, what exactly the on-premises. Those things we'll start with. And slowly and eventually we'll jump into the cloud sections. If I'm too fast, please let me know during the process itself. If too slow, also please let me know so that I think we can speed up the process. Okay. You can type in the chat box. You can always type in the chat box. I will have eye on the specific to that particular chat box always. Okay. You can type if you have any concerns or anything. Okay. All right, team. Okay. So fine. So let's move on. Okay. So we are starting with firstly the Azure DevOps. That's the part exactly we are starting up with, and followed by the security thing. We'll clear it out. And Terraform and Ansible also will in sequence will cover with Azure Cloud. There onwards, we'll go for the AWS and GCP. Okay, so that's the sequence of our program. Because a few candidates are only joined for the Azure DevOps, so that's why they'll be done with Azure DevOps, Terraform, sorry, Azure DevOps Security, Terraform, Ansible. So by that, I think their Azure DevOps program will be over. So who are joined for the multi-cloud, I think AWS and GCP will be continuing from there. All right, team. Okay. So to just save some time, especially I already prepared some context here so that I can explain things quickly and we don't need to waste time literally in typing this particular context. Okay. All right, team. Generally, when you go for a company, so as an experienced professional or as a fresher, when you go for a company as a DevOps engineer, if you're working for a client, especially if you are being recruited in a service-based company, example, I'm just calling that one as a vendor company, okay? Can be anything. If you've been recruited for a vendor company and you are asked to work for a client or so and so product company, if you are being asked, so every day you will work for the client by going to the site exactly on site or by sitting in your home or by sitting in your vendor company location, right? That's where actually the process usually will start. Right. Generally, once you have been recruited as a DevOps engineer, so immediately once you deploy to the client manager generally will start ask, hey, can you please help to deploy a particular application into the on-premises or the cloud? These are the things actually he will start with. And also, can you please bring up some branching strategy? What exactly the branching strategy where our development teams can follow? Can you please containerize our applications into the Kubernetes? Can you please help us in setting up the monitoring? Can you please help us in improving the security? Can you please help us just providing the access for the developers who are all there as part of your Scrum team, right? These are all the common questions. Common questions and high level questions usually you will get as a DevOps engineer. But you don't need to panic because you will be covered with all these things and you can confidently answer them as well. Right. So, for example, let me take one scenario here, okay? Your manager, a manager is asking you, I'm just taking one person here, Thanos. So, your manager is asking Thanos is from vendor company where he got recruited for a vendor and he's working for the client. There is a client manager. Here you can say the manager, yeah, where the client manager is asking Thanos, hey, Thanos, we have an application which is connecting to the database. Simple thing, which is a Spring Boot application, Spring Boot Java application, which is connecting to the Postgres database. Let's consider like this. Okay, this is a simple thing. I have not even considering about the front end part with the React and Angular. I have not even consider. I just consider your backend application corresponding to the database. That's a combination. Now, manager is asking Thanos, hey Thanos, we have a requirement. App is connecting to the database and we have on premises and we have cloud access as well. Both we have. So you just suggest us what exactly the best case which we can proceed for, whether it's on-prem, whether it is a cloud computing, sorry, whether it is any other public cloud. So which is the best case here? Okay, generally, this is a this is somehow rare combination. For example, if a company has a, both the things, of course, I think why always they will prefer on premises Why? What is the reason specially? Generally, the name itself is clearly telling you it's on premises, meaning that within your premises only your deployment will sit. So when you have a eye on security, if you want to keep more secured on your sensitive information, then only the on premises will be there in the picture. If you want to really, if you want to really keep your data within your premises, that particular data center, whatever the data center you have on premises data center, if you want to keep within your premises, of course you can deploy your application within your data center wherever it resides. But the thing is, few issues are also there. Along with that's improving the security. That's absolutely fine. But along with that, it is giving some drawbacks as well. You can raise your questions at the last. You can type in the chat box. I can just reply to that, team, please. Yes, Mohammed. Are you trying to talk anything? Yeah, please, guys, if you have any questions, you type in the chat box. Otherwise, you can. I'll give a chance at the last. You can rise. If you are feeling some struggle in between, you just type in the chat box. Okay, I will. I have an eye on the chat box already. Okay, you just type in the chat box. Okay, I will take a look on that. Yeah. All right. Otherwise, it's just about flow. That's the only the thing. Okay. Yeah. All right. Fine, team. So the on-premises is giving you the security. That's absolutely fine. But along with the security, few drawbacks are also there for that. So we need to understand. So now, as a DevOps engineer, Thanos is explaining to the manager, hey, if you are intent to go for on-premises, what exactly the problems you will get? If you are intent to the cloud environment, any cloud environment, any vendor means cloud vendor means in terms Azure, AWS, GCP, IBM. These things I'm just calling as a cloud vendors because they're providing the cloud environment to you. Okay, those are cloud vendors. Yeah, this is a vendor where it is providing the resources to the client. Okay, yeah, this is resource vendor actually. All right, team. Now, when you consider about the on-premises, the first and foremost thing you can simply think about the case on-premises. So meaning that server is at your place. Server is at your place. Data center is at your place. Obviously, it will take more space, right? You need to maintain the physical server at your data center location wherever it sits, and you need to allocate a space for that. That's the first thing. All physical servers are with you. You'll be very happy because everything is with you, right? You will feel very confident because all on infrastructure is with you. And in case of the cloud, generally this one will not sit with you. For example, let's consider Azure Cloud. They have their own data centers. They will maintain their infrastructure at their data center, and you have zero visibility on the data center. Zero visibility. Zero visibility. You don't even know the address of the data center. Okay. So likewise, they will maintain the vendors. Cloud vendors will maintain the data centers in that way. But in case of on-premises, it's a clear-cut view. You know where the data center is sitting, where the servers are sitting, everything you know. And it will be very much secure, very much secure. All right. And another important point I want to add here, if it is on premises, generally these servers are owned by you. So obviously any software patch updates or any kind of upgrades, if you want to replace some server RAM or disk or anything, each and everything you need to do on your own. So it is not easy for a person to handle entire data center, right? So obviously you need to recruit a team, especially you can call that one as a security team. That particular team will help you for your software and hardware updates or any kind of upgrades or any kind of hardware replacement, each and everything, switches or routers or anything. So these kind of things you need to take care in the on-premises mode. Please understand. And another interesting one, it's a costly solution as well because you need to buy the infrastructure. Upfront, you need to buy the infrastructure for your data center. You need to buy. So you need to spend some amount. But when you go for the cloud environment, even for the software updates, these kind of upgrades and all, it's very easy for you to modify. For example, you want to go a mission from lower config to For example, I have two CPU, just keeping here, two CPU and 8 GB RAM. 8 GB RAM virtual machine is with me, from Ubuntu machine with you. You want to go to the next level, okay, which is 4 core plus 16 GB RAM. Of course, you can. That's very easy also. That's it, because it's a user friendly UI where you can go there and easily upgrade. That's easy. But again, here you need to take a team help to just change that particular, to go to the new machine or to just replace the existing machine with these particular computes. Okay, you need to consider that one. And another one is costly solution. On-prem is a costly. Obviously, you need to buy your infrastructure, everything. So you need to pay for it. So that's why it's a costly. Coming to the cloud, this one on a pay-as-you-go model. For example, if you utilize a virtual machine only for 2 hours today, you need to pay for only 2 hours. If you utilize a virtual machine only for 5 hours, just pay for 5 hours only. That is how exactly the cloud resources works. That's why you don't need to pay anything upfront, not at all required. And whatever the things you are utilizing, you will pay those things on a pay-as-you-go model. And one more technique is also I'm highlighting here, especially on the cloud environment. I think this one will help you for your real time. Okay. If you have some 10 virtual machines, I'm just considering some 10 virtual machines. I'm just considering some 10 VMs here. Okay. For example, I'm just keeping some 10 VMs. All these virtual machines are really needed for you during your business hours, which is I'm just considering 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, let's consider this one. Okay, so this is what exactly your business hours. So you need your infrastructure, meaning that all your virtual machines are needed, especially during these hours. But after 8 p.m. to morning 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., you really don't require this infrastructure. You don't require. You have two options here. Two options you have. Option number one, you can shut down these resources. You can shut down these resources. Obviously, you are literally saving some 12 hours of cost. Okay, that's really good. That's really good. Literally, that's really good. That's a good savings for your company or for your client. Client definitely will appreciate you. And second thing, you need to be very cautious on your switching off your machines and switching on. Okay, because business should not complain on you. If they start complaint on you, everyone will have an eye on you, obviously, right? So they will just simply complain, hey, this guy has not switched on the mission. Or but in business guys, generally what they will reply, application is not working. Application is not working at 8, 9 a.m. in the morning or 10 a.m. in the morning. Maybe the thing is your script, whatever the script you placed, that was not efficient. That was not really started your virtual missions. That could be the reason, but you never cared about that, right? But we need to understand, we need to place an efficient solution to switch off these virtual machines. Once you switch it on, you need to understand the health of the system, health of your application. Then only you will feel confident, right? Once you verify health of the application, then only you trigger a notification to the team members say, your infrastructure is up and running. Please go ahead for the test or something like that. That really makes sense, right? That kind of thinking exactly needed for the DevOps engineer. It's not like a simply placing a automated solution, the bash script over there as a cron. You just skip it, and you are never care about that one, whether that is running, whether it is giving a proper result, whether it is giving a negative result, whether it is triggering or not, whether the applications are up or not. These things and all you need to consider. You need to always see in an end-to-end perspective, not only a simple solution. You should think, okay, you should think up to the business. Okay, they asked you to save the cost. Okay, I can save the cost by switching out the VM. If you think only until that moment, that is completely wrong for a DevOps engineer. You need to think, okay, we'll switch off the mission, then we will switch on the mission, then we need to inform them, hey, we switched off the mission, please go there and test. Before handing over the test for them, you should do one round of test. That is what exactly you need to think. kind of thinking is really needed for a DevOps engineer. Okay, not like just keeping a script in the current running that one. Okay, it is not working today. Tomorrow it is not working again. You need to accept the blame. Okay, so please be very careful. Please place the end-to-end solutions. Don't keep the solution just like that. Okay, right. So generally, why I'm discussing this one here is here I mentioned on-premises is very costly because you need to buy everything. But here, whatever the things you're utilizing, you will pay only for that, right? So let's 12 hours you don't need to pay. There is technique number two. I'm talking about another technique, okay? So first technique I just mentioned offline hours. So if you shut down your machines during offline hours, it's really great savings for your client. Next important thing is reservation. This one also you need to just keep in your mind because we are going to do one project in Ansible. How exactly you're optimizing your cost, okay? But for now, keep the points in your mind. What is reservation? How reservation is helping? See, if it is damn sure like, yeah, I'm going to use these 10 virtual machines across all my environment, dev environment, SIT environment, UAT environment, and production environment, across all my environments, if you think I need this infrastructure, two VMs for dev, two VMs for SIT, two VMs for UAT, two VMs for production. Let's consider that one. Hope you know that. Hope you have the idea on the environments. Please type S in the chat box if you have the idea on the environment. If you don't have the idea, just type no, not an issue. I'll just give a quick glance on that. Do you have an idea on the environments? What are all the environments generally the development teams will play with on daily basis? You guys have an idea? Just type S in the chat box if you have S. Otherwise, just type no. No worries, no worries. Yeah, just openly tell the answer. No worries. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So let me just explain a small point here. Okay, before jumping into the context, actual context. See, team, in real time, wherever you go, generally all development teams, DevOps teams, or operation teams always play with few set of environments for your project. Okay, let me explain those environments specifically for you, or you can say another one as UAT as well. I'm just keeping one more. I'm keeping here as UAT. This depends. Okay, this depends. No need to have the five environments always, but this is the best case. Okay, but anyway, you need to pay the amount also if you have more number of environments. All right, let's understand this one. So you have the development team here, right? You have the development team. This is your development team. I'm just keeping a development team here. These are the developers. Okay, the developers are developing an application. Generally, whatever the application they are developing, they need to test their code, right? To allow them to test their particular code, we will just provide them the dev environment. So, as a DevOps engineer, as a DevOps engineer, so you need to take this responsibility in making sure these environments are ready for the developers, ready for the testers, ready for the business, and ready for the public as well. All these things you need to make sure. How? Step number one, when developers are developing the code, first and foremost thing they want to test their application in one of the environment. That environment I'm calling here as dev environment. Okay. This is what completely will delegate this environment to the developers team. Okay, point number one. Sorry, sorry. Just a Yeah, we'll delegate this environment for the developers team. That's a step number one. Just think about this. Once developers verified, hey, the code is really good, we can promote the code to the SIT environment for the testers. Okay, I'm just keeping all the developers in specific to a color. Okay, I'm just bringing up the testers in the same project. Okay, now what exactly the testers will do now? Testers will test the application in the SIT environment. These are testers. Okay, testers will test the environment in SIT environment. Now, when it goes to the UAT refers to, see, dev means development environment, SIT refers to system integration testing. system integration. So where the testers will ensure whatever the code being developed by the developers is really integrated across the modules or not. For example, developer 1 test his own code in the dev environment. Developer 2 test his own code in the test environment. Developer 3 will test his own code. But who will ensure all these guys' code is really good or not? Integration. This maybe depends upon this one. This maybe depends upon this one, right? So who will ensure? Testers will ensure the integration. The testers will ensure that integration in the SIT environment. So that's the point. Once we have done with the testing, especially the testers done with the testing in the SIT environment, then we'll promote the code to the UAT. UAT refers to user acceptance test. User. Who is the user here? Business. Your business is the user. Okay. For example, I'm just taking the business here. Those business people are either POs or BA or Scrum Master, anyone, stakeholder, any stakeholder. Okay. I'm just keeping here business analysts or POs or product owners. All these people will come and test your application in the user acceptance test, meaning that whether application being developed so far is it as per our requirement or not. That's what exactly they will ensure. Once they think, okay, everything is all right, here I'm placing one more environment called pre-prod, some cases team. No need to have these 5 environments for your project. Some people will just maintain dev, SIT, UAT, and prod. Some people will maintain dev, SIT, pre-prod, and prod. See, ultimately, the UAT and the pre-prod advantage of these two environment here is which facilitate the stakeholders to test their application. That's step number one. Step number two, whatever the infrastructure you are maintaining here, that infrastructure is same as production. Point to be remembered. This is very important. Okay. Why we need to maintain pre-prod environment infrastructure same as production? What is the reason for that? Do we need to do anything on the pre-prod? Yes, we need to maintain the same infrastructure as production, especially into the before the environment. For example, before the prod, that could be a pre-prod some cases, that could be UAT some cases. If you're not interested to keep this, obviously you'll play with UAT. So then UAT must have the same infrastructure as production. UAT must have the same config as production. Why? There are two reasons for that. Reason number one, first and foremost thing, you need to test your application, which are NFRs. NFR refers to non-functional requirements. So meaning that, for example, my application should respond for 1,000 concurrent users, and that particular response should be less than 5 seconds. My application CPU and memory utilization should less than 50%, though the 1,000 concurrency on the application. So these kind of non-functional requirements and all, which are load, stress, soak testing, all these testings will be performed here. That's the reason number one, which to maintain same infrastructure as production. Based upon this one only, we'll code to the business, hey, your application definitely can handle 1,000 concurrent users. That's the first thing. What is the second advantage? After you promote the code to the production, some point of time, you found an incident in the production. That incident is related to some infrastructure issue, infrastructure configuration issue, whatever may be the issue. You need to simulate the same issue in the before the environment. But which environment is equal to the production? Only pre-prod or UAT. You need to simulate that issue in the right environment, then only you can find the root cause and you can troubleshoot the issue comfortably, and your developer also can provide the fix perfect. So that is the reason you need to maintain always same infrastructure as production. One is NFRs to just maintain your non-functional requirement verification, and the second one is to simulate the production instance. All right, these are all about the environments which usually will be there in the real time. Now, why we discussed that one. So that's where I'm distributing. Out of your 10 virtual machines, 2 belongs to dev, 2 belongs to UAT, 2 belongs to SIT, 2 belongs to production. Okay. And the second technique which I'm defining here for the cost optimization here is reservation. Wherever the cloud you're working with, you're working Azure, AWS, wherever you're working. always there is an option for a reservation. So meaning that you need to give some commitment. You need to give some commitment to the cloud vendor. For example, you're running with the 10 virtual machines. Yes, I'm giving a commitment to the Azure cloud. Hey, Azure cloud, I'm going to use these 10 virtual machines without fail for 1 year. Definitely I will use. Can you please give me some discount? This is what reservation actually. Then what exactly they will do? For example, these 10 virtual machines regularly, these are costing you, let's take an example. These 10 virtual machines are costing you some 3,000 US dollar. Let's take this example. 10 virtual machines are costing each one is 300 US dollar per month. So, 300 each one. So overall 10 is giving 3,000 US dollar. Now, when you go for reservation for 1 year commitment, maybe let's take 1 year commitment, maybe they may give some 30% of the discount if you because they have the fixed slab. So they'll give, if you give the commitment for 1 year this much, 2 3 years this much, or something like that. So for example, when they give some 30% out of it, obviously you will be charged only for 2100 US dollar. You're saving 900 per month. So overall in a year you are saving 7,000 US dollar easy. So the point here is this is one of the technique which you can use in real time by giving the reservation, by providing the reservations. You can talk with the Azure Cloud Support. Hey, we need reservations. Can you please resolve these 10 instances? Okay, they will resolve. Remember one point. At any moment during this year, after these instances got resolved, if you want to upgrade for 2 core 8 GB to 4 core 16 GB, nothing will happen. Same reservation will apply. Maybe your cost will vary. Cost will vary because you are using high end machines, right? But at any moment, if you don't want to keep for the reservation for 3 4 virtual machines, you want to remove for lower environments, then penalty will be there on you. Remember that. You cannot surrender immediately. You need to, you have one more quota. I'm just telling one hidden fact here. You can surrender your reservation up to 50,000 US dollar on your subscription. This much amount you can just surrender your reservations within a year. If you cross this one, they will take full charge from you. Full charge means, for example, I have committed 10 virtual machines for 1 year. After 4 months, I felt, oh, I don't require reservation for 4 VMs. 4 VMs cost how much? 4 threes are 1200 and 1200 into 12, right? 1200 into 12. Total, I mean, remaining months. Remaining months is 8. So, for example, 4 missions you are surrendering, 4 into 300, 1200, and how many months are remaining? So, remaining months are 6 months extra. So, 7,200. So you are being allocated with 50,000 US dollar minus 7,200 is equal to some 40, nearly 43. I'm just giving some rough number. Okay. So, what does it mean? You left over your limit with 43K. So meaning that if you surrender your 4 virtual missions fall under this 50K budget. That's fine. But finally you will left over with 43K. Again, not on you may think, okay, I may not use this 50K. Don't think like that. Because in your subscription, you may have multiple projects. Other project team members are also there. They will also surrender like you, right? So this one very quickly it will be over. Okay, please understand that one. Very quickly it will be over. So always you need to plan. If you really have intention to keep the reservation for 1 year, that's good. But if you want surrender within 50K, no problem. If you don't have the 50K limit, you are out already. So they will charge you fully. Remember that. Okay. So that's the point exactly you need to keep in your mind. If you think this concept is little complex at this moment for you, no worries. During our Ansible discussion, we are going to discuss the same thing, even for the spot instances as well. Okay. All right, team. So fine. So two techniques I just discussed. One is offline hours, just shut down during offline hours. Second one is reservation. Fine. All right. So let's move on. So that's where exactly though it's a pay-as-you-go model, still it will help you to save some cost. So that's the point exactly I'm trying to highlight. That's awesome. Next one, team. When you go for the next combination, which is a disaster recovery, scaling, high availability, these three are literally important for you when you're learning the cloud environments. Okay. So what exactly the disaster recovery and scaling and HCI? Let me talk about that. Okay. When I'm just taking one diagram here. Okay. This is a simple diagram which I'm just considering for you. Okay. Here, I'm just taking this diagram out so that I think your visibility will be good. Okay. I'm just keeping here. Yeah. Fine, team. So generally, I'm just asking you a question. Okay. You have an application which you have deployed in this virtual machine. Okay. Which this VM belongs to Singapore region. Let's consider a Singapore data center. And there is another VM. In this particular VM, generally you have the database. Let's assume you have a database. Okay. Now, what exactly the thing here is this particular VM, your application is deployed in this VM. Your database is deployed in this particular VM. Okay, that's cool. And these two belongs to Singapore region. Now my question is, today you have your infrastructure completely your data center, whatever the data on-premises data center in Singapore. So everything is here. You're dealing your 100% traffic. Your 100% traffic is completely sorry. Yeah. Your 100% traffic is completely going to Singapore region. That's really good. Okay, and you don't have any other region specially. Okay, this one I'm just removing from here. Okay, I'm just moving here. Now, when you're moving 100% traffic, especially onto this virtual machine, that's really good. But all of a sudden, for the Singapore region, what happens here is all of a sudden some disaster happen. That could be anything. So wherever this particular virtual machine sitting, that data center, example I'm just considering, example I'm considering, some disaster happened in that particular Singapore region. Disaster means nothing will work. So whatever the data centers are sitting inside the zones. Okay, inside the zones, and especially these zones are belongs to regions. Okay, regions. This is what exactly the sequence you should remember always. Okay, so a region, Singapore region has multiple zones. Already, cloud vendors are giving a very good high availability for you. For example, your machines are sitting in one data center. One data center means which is your actual infrastructure and servers. If there is a power outage or network failure or some coolers issue in this data center, still your zone will maintain multiple data centers. Still your infrastructure is safe because they are maintaining high availability on the data center level. Another level is if entire zone is down, maybe some cooler sitting in this particular entire zone or the power control is not at all working, then they have another option to provide you another zone. This is another level of availability where the cloud environments are providing. Okay, if if and all the zones are not working, meaning that your region is not working, your region has some disaster, some natural calamity, something happened. Nothing is working in the Singapore region. Then the only alternate for you is to go to another region. Another region. I'm just considering this region as HK. This is how exactly this particular higher process works. Okay. First, you can look for the data center level, which you need to make sure, and on top of it, you need to make sure on the zonal level. On top of it, you need to make sure on the region level. Because if the entire region doesn't work, then your application will not be working, right? Your client or customer cannot access your application. That is impossible. So you need to have another another infrastructure, especially sitting in another region. This is the Hong Kong, which we are keeping another set of infrastructure, same infrastructure we're replicating in the Hong Kong. Now, if disaster happened, what I will tell on the load balancer, what are the load balancer is sitting here? Just route 0% to Singapore. and route 100% to Hong Kong so that customers will be solved from the application. This is what exactly the disaster recovery. You need to plan this disaster recovery. Now think a scenario. If it is on premises, you need to maintain HK data center also. See, even one data center itself, we are feeling it's a costly solution. Now you are asking keep disaster recovery. For disaster recovery, set up another data center in the Hong Kong. Again, you need to maintain a separate security team. Again, you need to buy the physical servers. You need to allocate the space. It's a costly solution, right? That's where these kind of problems on premises, you need to place more effort and you need to spend. These kind of scenarios, cloud will provide the best solution. Okay, these kind of issues. Simply, what are the solution I just mentioned here? You will provision the infrastructure in Singapore and the Hong Kong, and you will place a load balancer here. You'll place a load balancer. You will tell the load balancer, hey, 0% to Singapore. Okay, if something happens, okay, just 100% to Hong Kong. That's all. Your task over. You don't need to do anything here. You don't need to maintain security teams in the Hong Kong region. You don't need to maintain infrastructure. You don't need to. You just need to buy, and you can keep this infrastructure in the passive mode also. Passive mode. So this is active mode. So meaning that you don't need to keep your infrastructure alive always, right? You can provision, you can deploy, and you can shut down. If something happens, just make this infrastructure up and just keep 100% on the load balancer to the Hong Kong region. Your traffic will route to the Hong Kong. That's where exactly the cloud is really helping you. All right. That's where exactly the disaster recovery is really helping. Next one, I'm just going for the scaling. When you go for the scaling, for example, team, I told you already in the pre-prod environment is the environment where you will simulate your non-functional requirements, which are load, stress, soak, all these types of testing, right? When you go for this kind of testing, especially team, you are very sure that in the pre-prod itself, you simulated your application. Hey, my application is really behaving well for 1,000 concurrent users. It's really doing good. Okay, fine. So 1,000 concurrent users are the one usually you will get during peak hours. But every day, every hour cannot be a peak hour, right? So maybe once in a month or Sundays, maybe your application is getting some peak hours where the 1,000 concurrency is really needed. Now, some cases, your concurrency, for example, let's consider your concurrency 1,000 concurrents, you tested for 1,000 concurrency, so you understand, hey, I need to maintain at least 3 virtual machines. So just to maintain the scaling, so meaning that, for example, today I have 10 users I will start with, but eventually these 10 users will go to 1,000 during peak hours. That's the scenario I'm talking about. When you are using 10 users, you only one virtual machine is more than enough. But when it goes to 1,000, you need to scale your missions accordingly. Okay. Then when you're scaling these particular things from 1 to 3, okay, fine. When again, this 1,000 will not sit here, right? 1,000 will come back to 100 later, right? This 100 will come back to 10 again. Again, you need to scale down your resources. So the scaling up and scaling down, and also another point I'm just highlighting here. You tested for 1,000, that's really awesome. If you get more than 1,000, for example, you just got the concurrency as a 1,500 all of a sudden, but you planned infrastructure only for 1,000 concurrent users. All of a sudden, if you get the more concurrent users, it is really very difficult for you to add to just scale on demand or on spot. So you need to plan it and you need to provision the mission. You need to connect that mission to the scaling. Then only you can solve this 1,500 concurrency. Again, this 1,500 concurrency again coming down. Again, you need to maintain the scale down feature as well. So the scaling up and the scaling down, whatever the things we are discussing now, especially in the on-premises, it's again effort is needed from the technical support point of view. So we need to be there and fund some cases, and we need to make sure you have the infrastructure ready to handle if there is a sudden jump from 1000 to 1500. But in case of cloud, you no need to worry on that. Especially in the scaling part on the cloud environment. Simple. On the UI, there is an option. Usually, for any hosting environment, you can set Kubernetes or virtual machine or scalings or scale set, whatever it is, or app services. You just need to configure it. Okay, I want to scale up to some 10 virtual machines. That doesn't mean that you will be charged for 10. You will be charged for 10. Whenever there is a scale for 10, you will be charged. If the 10 missions came down to 2, again you will be charged for 2. In that way, exactly. Okay, all right, guys. I think I lost the power. Sorry for that. All right, okay. Now, okay, team. So, fine. So, now I believe able to see my screen. Okay, please confirm. I'll just give the heads up here. Just type as in the chat box at least one person. Yeah.
We are able to see your stream.
All right. Okay, fine. So fine, Tim. So we are discussing about the scaling. So the scaling part. So what exactly we just discussed, especially on the scaling. And for this scaling, on premises is a little difficult whenever there is a sudden jump from the expected number. So, meaning that you need to make sure and you need to plan a mission accordingly in that particular scale group. So, obviously, a person is needed to make sure these kind of things. But when you go for cloud environments, you don't need to worry on these kind of things. You just need to define, okay, I need minimum 2 missions, maximum 10 missions or 20 missions, and you will now be charged for 20 missions. If you give the number as 20, that doesn't mean that you will be charged for 20. Whenever you really, for example, if you though you place it 20, you utilize only 4 instances. You will be charged only for 4. You used only 4 instances for 15 days in a month and 2 instances as fully. Then that 4 instances only for 15 days and 2 instances full month charge will be there. So in that way only exactly this particular charge works in the cloud environment. That's what exactly they pay as you. Okay. All right, Tim. So the next part, especially on the HA and data security and the recovery, correspond with the database. I think we will see this particular part during our tomorrow session. Okay. If you have any questions now you can raise it.
Hey, Dinesh, Shakti here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dinesh, while you are man, explaining about the reservation, so that time you mentioned that if some of the PMs they are not in use or they are going to be surrendered, so they are going to take the full amount of those machines.
Yes. So Shakti, so that's what exactly the commitment usually Microsoft Azure will ask you. Okay.
Okay, okay,
If
okay.
because we have provided the commitment for 1 year. So
Mhm.
they are giving some discount for you already. Okay. That's where exactly the agreement. But if
And,
you want to surrender in between, sorry, yeah.
uh, and if those PMs has not been used, for example, then on that scenario, are they going to take the fixed cost for the PMs being created? Is it
Sorry,
like
Shakti.
that?
Can you please repeat this line one more time, please, for me?
If the VMs, for example, I have got 4 VMs created and I got a discount, but out of that, 2 VMs they have never been used. For example, they have never been used. For example, for the imagine that we have a SIT, but what we thought that for the UAT VM will be using the for the testing as well. For example, so the one which has
Oh,
been created for the SIT that has not
mm,
been used.
mm.
So are
Okay,
they?
I got
How
you.
much will there be any cost
Actually,
involved to that?
I got you, Shakti. That doesn't matter for Azure.
Okay,
Okay. Whether whether you used or not doesn't matter for them because you already moved out of pay as you go mode. When you go for
okay,
reservation, it is auto pay as you. Okay.
okay,
So you will reserve 4 instances. If you say two you never used, only two you are using, still you will be charged for four. Okay.
okay, okay.
Yeah, we need to plan properly on this. If
None
you
at all.
really
Okay.
need that reservation, we need to pick it up.
Yeah. And one more question, Dinesh. Thanks for explaining that, Abhishek. And the second one that you mentioned about disaster recovery. Okay, so for the disaster recovery, just the experience that what we follow is that we do a lot of log sequence and DB migrations to keeping sync, and some places we recreate the image. So we don't have to worry about all these things, right? So Azure will automatically take care of this kind of uh, mechanisms on their own if we have the load balancer available with the disaster recovery nodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let me answer this one. Okay. So, okay, team, not only for Shakti, for entire team. See, Azure will take care, Azure will take care. If I say when Azure will take care, Azure will take care, we also need to have the right option on that particular resource. Okay. For example, you haven't selected high availability for database, but you are expecting some disaster recovery. That is not possible. They will not do, right? So the thing is, we also need to enable few options while we are provisioning or after provisioning actually, Sakti and team. Okay. Based upon that one only, your disaster recovery scenarios will be handled, right? There is a disaster happen, it is not only for you or for our project, it is for entire region. Okay. Obviously, they will look for example, if disaster happened in the Singapore, immediately they will route the traffic from Singapore to Hong Kong. But you should have the proper regional backup scenarios on your database. If you really check the regional database backup, obviously your application will work, though though there is a disaster in Singapore, right? You'll come back to Hong Kong, your application will resume as it is. Got it right? Yeah. So these options I will show you while I'm provisioning the databases.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we
So
need to some options. Because if we don't have the options, but we should not expect also they will handle. Okay. We need to select options. Yeah. They will additionally charge us. Regional backup will obviously charge us. Yeah, that's it.
so time to time basis they will be updating. So
They,
basically, if I
yes.
understand from you, this is a DB update on both the
Mhm.
sides, which
Yeah,
which
correct.
will be cost. But they'll be doing it
Yes.
regularly, irrespective of
They will take the
how.
backup. See, the data loss point of view, you don't need to worry. They will take care of
Okay.
it. Okay. But we
So we
need to
don't have
select
to.
the right implementation. Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about any kind of delta and all. And
You don't need to worry. To be frank, you don't need to worry. You cannot do anything also. So whatever they are providing, we will just sync that particular data only. For example, if your RPO and the RTO. So guys, I think few got the candidates may not understand this terminology. Don't worry. When we are discussing about the databases, we can understand what is RTO and what is RPO.
okay.
Especially
Okay.
these things and all. I think whatever the number they provide, that one only we will get actually. So we cannot control anything
Okay.
else.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. So any other question, guys? Okay. All right, team. Okay. So today is our first session only. I think how the pace is also just let me know. Okay. If you think a little fast, please let me know. Or you can inform the Visualpath. Okay. They will update me. So that I think if you think slow, we can speed up. If you think too speed, I think we can slow down. Okay. Yeah, we can adjust. Yep. All right, guys. Okay. See you all tomorrow. Yeah. Bye bye.